Hello, everybody. My name is Gurcan Orhan from Turkey, working at Eco Logistics. And today we'll be talking about is data warehouse is dying, one of my newest and hot topics nowadays. You can always reach me via my blog, Twitter account, or LinkedIn. I'm always online. So let's give it a go. So I intentionally selected the graveyard here because, and I will not talking about the disruptive technologies for giving an example of Uber, Airbnb, or other ones. But let's see what technology has been changed for us for now. So first, this is actually for the guys like me. It is not a save button. It's the 144 or 288 megabytes of floppy disk drive, which I still have one floppy drive in my old desktop computer, and currently it's nothing. It's out of bounds. Then the technology that make it that is the CD and DVD. But before that, there were PD-ROM drives, especially produced for the backup purposes. Then CD and DVD drive came and killed the floppy disk drives. And I wonder if anybody remembers this brilliant Nokia phones. It's 3110, and now I didn't see anybody using. I don't see anybody using the button phones for now because the screen phones came and killed the button phones. I wonder if anybody has sent a snail mail or a postcard for the last 1 or 2 years because everybody is using emails for it. So all these technologies are dead. But to give a start, this is an IBM 5 megabytes of drive in 1956 that has been trying to carry it out by a muscled 5-man to be loaded in a truck. So in 2005, I cannot see here. Let me try to hide. Oops, it's gone. 128 megabytes of micro SD card in 2005. And almost 9 years later, it's 28 gigabytes of the same producer's same disk. So this is the technology where it is rapidly growing. So there is a correlance between these two pictures. On the left side, it's B.B. King's first album made in 1957, and this is Chevrolet's Bel Air, again started to produce in 1957. So when we look at now, this is the B.B. King's last album, 2017, after he passed away. Rest in peace for him. And it is almost the same album which he made in 1958. But Chevrolet Bel Air has stopped producing in almost 2008 or 9, and Chevy is not producing any Bel Airs for now. They are into hybrid cars or the electric cars. I mean, the production of Bel Air is dead. So the technology is going from somewhere to somewhere, but the logic or myths is not, they are evolving, but they are not dying. So a few words about me. I have more than 20 years of experience in information technology sector. For the last 14 years, I've been into data warehousing and analytical side. Mostly you heard me talking about Oracle Data Integrator or the data warehousing. I was honored with Enterprise Architect of the Year in 2000 2011. Then became an Oracle-based director. And I'm one of the founders and the data warehousing and BI chairman of Turkish Oracle User Group. And in the meantime, I'd like to thank my good old friend Francisco Munoz Alvarez for letting me speak here to be with you. And I would like to share my experiences with Oracle community worldwide. So again, a few words about my company. It was established in 1990, and currently we are operating in 15 countries. By the end of this year, it will be 23, and next year we are thinking to move our headquarters to Netherlands and expand our operations to not only USA but China. And by the end of 2019, that's not so far, it's been planned to operate in 42 different countries. And as we can see in these numbers, they are not only plans, all the plans up to now within the Eco Logistics has all go live. So let's start with history of data warehousing. What is a data warehouse? What makes a data warehouse? And what is the difference between a data warehouse perspective and business analytics with other analytical approaches? The history of data warehouse or enterprise data warehouse starts with the EIS, which is Enterprise Information Systems. Then it followed by the decision support systems. Then it started with the data warehousing, business intelligence. Now it's been saying that business analytics, and the story continues with the data warehousing 2.0 and data warehousing over the cloud. So this is one of my favorite description of data warehousing, which is developed by Bill Inman in 1990. A data warehouse is a subject-oriented and it's integrated with being time-variant and a non-volatile collection of data in support of management's decision-making process. So, in other words, Gartner just rephrased this. The BI is the processing of converting data from the information to knowledge to decision. So let's continue with the data warehousing maturity model. Well, we all start with the management reports, which is mostly on not only for the ad hoc reporting, but for the list reporting, and it's for the baby steps of a data warehouse. Then it becomes in an individual based or a division based spread marks to inform executives. So after that, we develop our data marks to empower the knowledge workers, not only for the C-level management, but also middle and upper management levels. Then data warehouses are spread into divisions as a teenager model to monitor business processes in the company-wide. Then enterprise data warehouse is implemented, which is the adult stage of data warehouse, and with the BI services and giving the correct, right, accurate, and on-time data to the related peers within the company or extrovert of the companies around. So when we check the BI maturity model, it's almost the same, but in the initial steps, the cost is very, very much regarding to the compared with the value. Then cost decreases and value starts to increase in infant level. Then when it comes to child, cost become less than the value. And I see lots of companies giving up their data warehouses and started to switch to other analytical models or other analytical projects in between the child. It's because cost is higher than the value, but the companies or the especially the CIOs should be a little bit more they need to wait a little bit more to get the value above the cost. And teenager, as you can see, cost is decreasing as the value is increasing, and there are dashboards and data warehouses produced in here. In the adult phase of the BI, its value is increasing more as the cost is decreasing. Then in the stage, when it's a little bit more in the stage level, business services, customer BI, and embedded BI services cost is really less than the value. But you need to be patient, or the company should be impatient to, especially in this place, in child place, to make to get the more of a data warehouse. This is how the data warehouse goes, and this is the typical approach of a BI and or the data warehouse. So there are levels in a data warehouse. I first want you to understand the concepts and the basics of the data warehouse, because it's always saying that it's so easy to drive the market, but how? The first, we need to use the spreadsheets. What the company has an operational system environment. That's what we call the OLTP environment. It doesn't directly give a spark to drive the market, or let's make this with no forecast currently. We only in the first phase give a standard reporting, which I generally prefer to call a list reporting, in the beginning in the basic level of the data warehouse. Then it becomes tactical, consolidate the different types of data, because all the companies have different operational systems in different divisions. For instance, you can use a customer complaint as a source system A, or an ERP for the finance, maybe an additional tool for order management or order phases, and you consolidate this data to get more out of the data in a tactical level. And the third one, it becomes in a more focused way of showing things. After you combine all the data, and imagine that this is an ongoing process. A successful data warehouse, depending on the company, starts with 6 months to 2 or 3 years. So it's not, I cannot say it's a simple project. It's generally a program. So we start doing some modeling and forecasting techniques to give more especially to the upper management, to drive the company and to put the company in the right path. And in the last phase, it's strategic. Enterprise data warehouse goes with the cascading business scorecards, with making predictive analysis, with trusted data on time. So this is a path, and you start from reporting to analysis, then to prediction. So implementation timeline, as I said in a minute before, is relatively a little bit longer, but it's worth waiting. And this is what Steve Jobs say. It's details matter, but it's worth waiting to get it right, on time, and inaccurate. So there are components of a data warehouse. Which one? The source systems that we need to get the data from. It could be finance, marketing, planning, R&D data, or logistics, whatever it can be. And we're doing some ETLs or maybe some replications. We put all these data in an ODS layer, which is the operational data store. There are no transformations or nothing apart from the source system, only the copy of the data. And also, with the power of ETL, we start getting the master reference data or comfort dimensions from this standpoint. Then we plan about our data storage and aggregation level to prepare the data marts and the corporate data warehouse. And in the meantime, business goals, business rules, and strategies has been developed or rephrased or phrased during this time. Then the presentation layer occurs. In none of the data warehouses that I've seen up to now, the EDW or the data warehousing section is not open to public, either inside or outside. We generally prepare data marts, which is a portion of maybe or some portion of the data warehouse for their to continue their business and to continue their reporting. And it starts with the dashboards, analytics, alerts, and scorecards, as well as producing the operational reports. And during the complete project, one of the biggest benefits of the project is going with the data encyclopedias, security, metadata, and the other layers. So now you can put all these in the cloud. So Oracle has some cloud offerings for not only for data warehousing, as you know, but also with the OLTP side as well. For software as a service, there are currently a bunch of applications there, and also in platform as a service and infrastructure as a service. There are 75 applications currently in Oracle Cloud offerings, and for the platform as a service, which is my main concern, is integration, data integrator, SOA, IoT, and Golden Gate, and also all the analytics cloud offerings. There are 25 of them, and for infrastructure as a service, there are 15. Which includes the Exadata as a service as well. So there is a cloud marketplace, and more than 4,000 Oracle partner apps is there, and you now have everything to set up a data warehouse from scratch, already serviced by Oracle in the cloud. So I heard some rumors and some sort of statements to prepare as a ODM approach, which is operational data mart approach. Let's see how they try to manage this. There are source systems and ODS as the same as the data warehousing. Then within some ETLs or the exact transformations or the replication tools, they produce some virtual data marts, and they put it in Exadata. This is what I see, and also in the cloud. This is a good approach. This could be seen as a good approach, but I call it as a bullshit. The reason is, since you are always underlying the source systems, if a source system change, for instance, you start using a source system B for customer complaints, you cannot access, or you don't have prepared the required storage for it, and you are always consort into one source system. Could be more, but the relation of those source systems is always changing, and also the history. If the source system decides to archive or clean their historical data, that could be because of the regulations or the company's storage policies or infrastructure policies, your data has been lost. So this is not the thing, or this is not an approach that I'm counting on, and I don't prefer you to go with the ODM approach. So let's start to learn what a data mart is. A data mart is a subject-oriented and integrated with related data, and usually fed by a single source system, and you should be taking care of the history of that source system, or get ready or already plan to source system switches or changes. For instance, if I put a customer complaint, no matter if it is a source system A or source system B, what I need as a data warehousing perspective always fit maybe a source system C or D, it doesn't matter. And there are two types of data marts, which is dependent. It is fed from data warehousing with easy ETL. It's because you know what it is in the data warehouse. You just transform and migrate to. There are, to be honest, there are always little bit transformations from data warehousing to data marts, and it's a part of enterprise plan. When it becomes a independent data mart, it's discrete. It has high operational cost. It's fed from external sources, and you lean on those external systems. I didn't see any company up to now in my entire business life using the same infrastructure or same OLTP system for the 20, 30, 40 years more. Because of the requirements or the pressure of the market, it's always subject to change. So as we check out the properties of the data warehouse and data mart, data sources of data marts are generally single, where the data warehouse is multiple, and the subject is many in data warehouse and single and business unit oriented in data mart. For instance, when you develop or implement a sales data mart, it only consists of sales records. So what about the payments of these sales? If it is in a different source system, it will be much more harder with a high operational cost to implement this to your data mart. If you planned or projected a data warehouse, it will be instead of clicks to put the payment data into a data mart. So, as I mentioned, there are three different approaches, which is the one of the operational systems, which is the data warehouse and the data mart. The differences of these are in operational systems, the nature of data generally goes with the 30-60 days, and it's application driven. Volume is generally small to medium, and it's generally process based. When I go to a company to set up a data warehouse, my first question will be goes for, do you have a DBA worked on the data warehousing? Because we always try to make as much as we can set-based operations instead of role-based. But in operational systems, maybe 99% of the DMLs are generally role-based. So when you go with the data warehouse, the response time could be in seconds to minutes, longer than the operational systems, because you combine the previous or the previous operational system records into one, and you generally get the temporal subjective as the organization of data. It starts with big, but generally very big or huge data. And the data source is not only operational or internal, but also externals. Because in most of the companies, all the business users know that A means important, B means not important. But data warehouses or the external users doesn't know this. So they generally either transforms on the fly with case when statements mostly, or doing some sort of transformations on the fly, which makes the system go slow. And when you put hundreds of thousands of maybe millions of logics in this manner, your reports will be unstable and not responding. So in data warehouse, activities are always based on analysis based and feeding for the data marts. So let's check the what data mart has. It is seconds to minutes as well as the data warehouse. It's always read on the data with temporal snapshot as a nature. It's as this. It is the same as the data warehousing, subjective and temporal. Volume of the data generally goes to medium to big. It is not big to huge because it only focuses on a division. The data source stands with the same as the data warehouse, and the activities is analysis based as well. So, as a conclusion, data mart and data warehouse is almost the same. I always say that data mart is a portion of the data warehouse. It could be in a horizontal or vertical sections of a data warehouse, depending on the data mart structure. So when you plug your data mart to directly to operational system, you are in danger. As I said, this approach is generally bullshit. This is why I put a big red question mark here, because in the previous slide, a company came, probably a consulting company, they want to reduce, the customer wants to reduce the costs. To reduce the cost, they need to cut the, because they cannot cut their rates, but they need to cut their working days. To make the story shorter, they connect data marts directly to their operational system. So this makes the project maybe really fancy and successful in the first months, but after 6 months, they generally fail. So I mostly got critics about the project approach of a data warehouse, which goes like in a waterfall environment, starts with analysis, design, implementation, testing, deployment, maintenance, and bang, with a big bang approach. And this is the most common critics of a data warehouse. So you can do in the waterfall, you can switch from waterfall technologies to agile to give a small bangs instead of a big bang. So the project timeline is the same as before, but when you focus on a data mart and going not straight from backwards to forwards, but from forward to backward, you will have small bangs, which the first bank can go about 5 to 6 months, and the second one will go 1 to 3 months, the third one goes again 1 to 3 months. So by parallelizing activities, you will have small banks, which will be the same output as a big bang, and the users will be much more happy because they won't need to wait till the end of the project timeline. So let's talk about big data, because I read lots of articles about big data. It will change the future. It's okay, it will, and I believe it as well, but with a little difference. I intentionally stop here because I know everybody saw it. I won't say a big data one more time. I believe that big data has big opportunities with lots of values, volumes, velocities, and other V's, and I say these are good. Let's stay there. But in a big data approach, you get something from mostly on unstructured data. So let's look at the maturity model of a big data system. So everybody is in the dark in the first step. The C-levels and the managers decided to implement the let's make a big data project. So they check for the competitors in the race in the Hadoop environment and asking where do we start. Then they pick their utilities and applications and started making first pilots and to figure out how does this work. Then they have technical values. The the return of investment may be longer than expected, but it's all okay. Then it becomes with the strategic leverage. I heard some companies about which is in this area, and they optimize the big data concept and extend it to company wide. So mostly they create a new business. The company is creating a new business model to touch or to have a relationship in a different way with their customers. But in my opinion, big data is not a data warehouse. Why? But to me again, big data is getting gold or precious stones and metals from scratch, from the wastes. And this is my take for big data. It is very important. It drives the market. It changes the way how company works, but it's not directly correlated with the operational systems. And I heard some projects going with the big data mart, where there is a source DB and some sort of ETL process with transformation. It could be streaming or non-streaming. Prepare a data mart and put the data BI reports after the data mart. And I intentionally put this slide, which I'll tell you a little bit later. And this is there's another way of making conventional ETL, which is there is a source DB with doing some Hadoop transformations and loading the data mart to the reporting, which is called as the big data hybrid ETL. And I read an article, and I intentionally put this dedicating to him, and he was saying that ETL is retiring. No, ETL is not retiring, it's re-involving. So what's new with the data warehouse side? As you can remember these pictures, big data the data warehouse is, as I said, evolving and it's changing and it's not stopping in any time. So Dan Linston, one of my friends, and he just put on a data vault, and you can Google this, and it's a sort of enterprise BI solution. Where there are source systems on the left and there are staging areas directly. As you can see, there's no ODS layer, and there's business vault and the raw vault, including the NoSQL functions, and produce star schemas or data marts or information marts, error marts to give the enterprise BI solution. And this right side of this approach is open to the business users. And data warehousing 2.0. Let's talk about this. Again, we have operational systems, ERPs, master data. It could be social media, sensors and streaming data, all coming to information management layer. And in the staging data, staging area, you have temporal structures as well as you implement the data quality solutions. And afterwards, the foundation of the data comes with the enterprise data, including full history. And it starts with the dependent embedded data marts. This is one of the new topic areas as well. Knowledge discovery area. You put analytical discovery sandbox environment as well as the rapid development sandbox environment to conclude and finalize the data integration layer. And security and metadata currently on data sources and the source level. Then the output. I mean, the produce that you show. You have alerts, dashboards, reports, or maybe services to feed to either OLTP systems or other systems. Advanced analysis and data scientist tools to goes for the machine learnings. The current and the future of the BI abstraction and the query federation with the performance management scorecards and whatever you show to your external or internal organization. Eventually, I can say that long live data warehouse. It's not dying. It's not dead. It's just evolving as the BB King, and it's not dead like Chevrolet Bel Air. Thank you so much. As I told you, you can always contact me via my Twitter, LinkedIn, or WordPress accounts. And if you have any questions, then I'm currently switching to the chat area. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. I'm now on the chat window. Thank you for very, very much for attending. It's my pleasure to be here. Hopefully, we'll see or we'll hear each other next week again and in another APEC OOC event. Cheers. Bye bye.